This woman right here, she's holding it all in. She's holding in all of her negativity, all of her emotions, and it starts to have a physical impact on her. So what happens when you hold everything in, when you hold in all of your emotions? Well, as you can see, she has her hand on her chest like this. Maybe she's starting to have some physical symptoms. Sure enough, things actually can happen physically that can cause various issues within your life. Because if you keep repressing and holding in your emotions and negative feelings that are going on within your mind, you eventually reach a breaking point. Negative things are going to start pouring out, and it could come about in physical ways that you may not have ever expected. The truth is, it is easy to hold back without opening up. Think about something that you realize, it's very hard to speak up about this. It's very hard to tell someone, especially someone close to you, something that you may feel as though they could be offended by, or it's very emotional for you, or even just, maybe it's something that's a bit more positive. Maybe that you were romantically interested in someone and you're just a little shy from opening up about it. That's holding stuff in. And then think about times that you've held that in, just how bad that you feel. It's like it starts to bring up anxiety, starts to bring up depression, starts to bring up anger, starts to bring up all sorts of emotions. And then finally, when you open up, how do you feel? You feel like, wow, release, a massive release. It's like a weight has been lifted off of you, right? Yeah. When you keep repressing, you're ignoring the issue, whatever that issue is. When you keep blocking it out, when you keep pushing it out of your memory, when you keep pushing it away, pushing it aside, it's like, well, it doesn't actually exist. It's not here. I don't need to worry about it. But the truth is, nothing has changed. It's still there within you. And now you're just ignoring the issue. And that can cause a myriad of problems. Because when you keep ignoring the issue long enough, the problem will end up getting worse. It's not going to get better. You think ignoring it is going to get better. You keep ignoring the problem, thinking, if I just wait long enough, if I just keep not acknowledging this problem long enough, things will eventually get better. But the truth is, it never does. It'll always get worse and worse and worse until you actually find a way to open up about it and actually address it. It's like if someone is knocking on your door. It's like, yeah, okay, you can ignore it, they will walk away. But what if it's very persistent? They just keep knocking and knocking and knocking. Someone else comes up, and now there's 2 people knocking. 3 people. 4 people. They just keep coming and coming and coming. Well, eventually, you got a whole bunch of people surrounding your home, and there's no way to escape. You can't run. You can't hide. It's all right there. It's coming for you. And until you're actually ready to address it, you could have a mental breakdown. You could have physical symptoms that start to arise. All sorts of problems. Eventually, it will come out in very destructive ways. So if you have an issue with a friend, a spouse, and you just keep pushing it off, you keep getting angry, you don't address it, and you just, things resolve themselves on their own. My partner will change. Or you bring up little things here and there, and they're always very defensive about it, and you feel as though you can't really open up about it, whatever the case is. Eventually it comes out in very destructive ways that arguments, fights, problems that happen that break off the friendship, the relationship, all sorts of things happen that cause problems. And if you can't address it, it's going to keep building up and building up until it eventually comes pouring out in usually a very destructive way that will sabotage the friendship, the relationship, whatever it is. That's why you have to be very mindful of these destructive ways and the things that you're holding in. Because you will lose people close to you. Your emotions will be all over the place. You'll be unstable. You'll be suffering mentally. You have all sorts of problems that start to arise. And usually you may blame the other person. You will blame the other person for something that you did, because you weren't able to see that you were the one holding back. It doesn't matter if the other person is holding back. You can't control them. You don't control their life. You can't determine what they do with their life. All you can do is control you, your own life. And if you're holding back, if you're not able to open up, if you have a problem with someone and you can't address it, then you're holding it back, and eventually it's going to come out, and you're going to seem like the one who's a bit, out there, suffering mentally, unstable. But if you start to address it early enough and you start to bring it to people's attention, start to make awareness of these problems, then things may slowly get better. I'm not saying that they will be 100%, because ultimately it is going to come down to the other people to start to realize and change some things as well. But at least you did your part to open up about the situation. Because not every single sort of connection is always going to last. So if you do have a significant other and you're always fighting and bickering about something, always some sort of problem is coming up, and is some sort of fight is happening, then the problem is, when you actually address it, there could be a lot of back and forth, combat, to the point where it just becomes too overwhelming for you, and it's like, well, you have to take some sort of action of breaking off this connection. You can't really have it anymore. There is no way you can live in harmony with someone else who is so different than they were before. Or maybe they were always like that. They were just, you weren't really paying attention to it, or they were holding it back. Whatever the case is. That's why it's very important to address the problems early enough before they get bad. Because the longer you wait to address them, the worse that they're going to be, and the less likelihood that there's going to be a positive outcome that's going to happen. Another analogy that I always like to use is like, let's say you just keep stuffing your closet full of junk. Junk that you don't want, junk that you don't need, junk that you don't want to think about. It's like, I'm just going to store it away. Put one thing in there, you put one thing, initially it's fine. It's not a problem. But eventually it gets to the point where you have to open up the door very slightly and just throw it in, very quickly kind of jam it in. And so eventually it gets to the point where even opening up the door slightly, everything just starts coming out. And it's a mess. Everything is disorganized. Everything is all over the place. Or what about, shaking a can of soda? You shake it once, it's fine. Just maybe a little bit of a problem. You shake it more and more and more and more until eventually, it's a problem. I like the closet analogy a little bit better, because it's a bit more, it's like you open it up and everything just kind of comes out and it's a mess all over the place. But that's the same thing with like soda as well, But that's how our emotions are. We keep it bottled up. We don't address it. Eventually it comes out. It really does. You can't always keep it in forever. So, that's why it's very important. Physical health issues could happen here. Anxiety, depression, physical. It's possible. You don't want it to get to that point. So address it early enough and don't hold in all those emotions.